Take a look at this. It's a human skull from our deep prehistoric past. And this is what looks for all the world like a clean, circular hole on its left side. To any modern eye, it suggests one thing and one thing only: a bullet hole. This is the kind of artifact that just shouldn't exist. It's a fossil that seems to rewrite human history, and it has sparked some truly fantastic theories of time travelers on prehistoric safaris, ancient super civilizations, and lost technologies. For decades, it's been held up as definitive proof that our official understanding of the past is fundamentally wrong. But is it? Today, we're digging into the incredible story of this impossible fossil. We'll trace its journey from a mineral quarry in Africa to the very center of a raging debate. We're going to find out if this is really evidence of a prehistoric gunshot, or if it's one of history's greatest and most persistent misunderstandings. Our story starts not in the Stone Age, but in 1921, in a place then called Northern Rhodesia, what is now modern-day Zambia. At a mining site known as Broken Hill, workers were blasting and digging for lead and zinc. On June 17th, a Swiss miner named Tom Zwiglar was working deep inside the quarry when his team made a stunning find. There, embedded in the rock, was a nearly complete, mineral-encrusted human skull. The skull they pulled out was unlike anything they'd ever seen. It was incredibly robust, with a massive brow ridge and a long, low brain case. Yet it also had features that felt strangely familiar, like a flatter face than more ancient hominins and a large brain capacity. It was immediately recognized as a major discovery, one of the first important pre-modern human fossils found in Africa, the continent that would eventually be proven to be the cradle of humanity. The skull, which would be nicknamed Broken Hill Man, was sent to the British Museum, where paleontologist Arthur Smith Woodward declared it a new species, Homo rhodesiensis. Today, the classification is still debated, but many scientists assign it to the species Homo heidelbergensis, an archaic human group that lived across Africa and Europe. But as researchers carefully cleaned the fossil, they noticed its most baffling feature, the one that would launch 1,000 conspiracy theories. On the left side of the cranium, just above the temple, was a small, remarkably round hole. To many who saw it, the conclusion seemed obvious. The hole is about 8 millimeters in diameter with what appear to be clean edges. There are none of the telltale radial cracks or hairline fractures you'd expect from a low-velocity weapon like a spear or an arrow. Proponents of the bullet hole theory pointed out that forensic experts often see such clean, penetrating wounds from one thing: a small, incredibly fast-moving object, a bullet. The plot thickened when they looked at the other side of the skull. The right side is shattered, which some claimed was a catastrophic exit wound, suggesting a projectile had passed straight through the head with enormous force. If true, the implications would be staggering. If a prehistoric man was killed by a bullet, who or what pulled the trigger? This single fossil became a cornerstone for the out-of-place artifact genre. Alternative history authors went wild with it, spinning sensational and captivating stories. Maybe it was a time traveler on a hunting trip gone wrong. Or perhaps a lost high-tech civilization from our own past, and Atlantis or a Lemuria had firearms, and this was the smoking gun. These theories all shared one common thread. The official version of history is a lie, and this fossil was the proof. For these ideas to hold water, the skull needed to come from an era when humans were thought to be primitive hunter-gatherers, maybe around 30,000 or 40,000 years ago. As some early estimates suggested, a bullet hole from back then would be impossible by every conventional standard. But the truth about the Kabwe skull would turn out to be even more complex and far, far older. The first major blow to the bullet hole theory comes from modern dating. For years, the Kabwe skull's age was all over the map, partly because the mining operations had completely destroyed the geological layers of the site. But in 2020, a team of scientists used advanced direct dating techniques on the skull itself, and they published a new, far more accurate age. The Kabwe skull isn't 30,000 or 40,000 years old. It's somewhere between 274,000 and 324,000 years old. This individual lived in the Middle Pleistocene, a time when different human lineages, including early forms of our own species, Homo sapiens, coexisted in Africa. This new age doesn't just make the bullet theory unlikely, it catapults it deep into the realm of fantasy. It would require us to believe in firearms and advanced metallurgy more than 250,000 years before the invention of writing. The second blow comes from taking a closer look at the wound itself. While the hole looks clean to the naked eye, paleontological analysis tells a very different story. High-velocity projectile wounds leave telltale signs on bone, like specific patterns of cone-shaped cratering as the bullet enters and exits. These features are absent on the Kabwe skull. So what about that supposed exit wound, the shattered right side? On closer inspection, the damage is inconsistent with a projectile's exit. Instead, paleontologists widely agree that it represents post-mortem damage. This means the breakage happened long after death, maybe from the immense pressure of fossilization, or even during its violent removal from the mine with explosives. There are just no signs of the explosive force from within that a bullet would create. But the most damning piece of evidence against the gunshot theory is also the most subtle, and it points toward a much sadder story. If this was a wound, some evidence suggests the individual did not die instantly from it. The possibility of bone remodeling, or healing, even if limited, would mean they survived for some time after the injury. A high-velocity bullet to the skull is almost always instantly catastrophic, leaving no time for the slow process of bone repair to begin. This fact alone makes a gunshot nearly impossible. So if it wasn't a bullet, what was it? The answer, while less sensational, is medically fascinating and much more tragic. The leading scientific hypothesis is that this hole isn't a weapon wound at all, but a pathological lesion, the result of a chronic, and ultimately horrific, infection. Known as lytic lesions, this is a medical phenomenon where an infection or a tumor literally eats away at bone tissue. It can create smooth, well-defined holes that, to an untrained eye, might look just like a deliberate puncture. And the source of such a devastating infection in the Kabwe individual becomes tragically clear when you look at the rest of the skull. The skull shows signs of extreme dental disease. It has some of the oldest known cavities in the hominin record, with 10 upper teeth riddled with decay. Severe abscesses at the roots of the teeth would have created a constant source of powerful bacteria. It's considered highly plausible that a long-standing, untreated infection, maybe from the teeth or even a chronic ear infection, spread to the surrounding bone. Over months, or even years, this infection could have festered, slowly creating the very lesion we see today. This paints a grim but deeply human picture, not of a man shot by a futuristic weapon, but of an ancient human living in a world without medicine, battling immense and constant pain. The ultimate cause of death is speculative, but a systemic infection spreading from the abscesses in his head is a plausible, though unprovable, possibility. This individual seems to have lived a life of suffering, and the skull is a permanent record of that struggle. The story of the skull with the bullet hole is a perfect example of how a thrilling mystery can be more appealing than the truth. The idea of time travelers and ancient astronauts is exciting. It plays on our desire to believe that the past was more magical and advanced than we're told. But the scientific explanation is, in its own way, just as profound. We don't have a record of a lost civilization's assault rifle. Instead, we have a 300,000-year-old cold case solved by pathology. We have a window into the brutal reality of prehistoric life and the incredible resilience of our ancient relatives. The Kabwe skull isn't a testament to a futuristic weapon, but to the devastating power of disease. It's not an out-of-place artifact, but the remains of a person, frozen in time. It doesn't rewrite human history with a bang, but with the quiet, agonizing story of a life lived and lost in the deep past. The real mystery wasn't where the bullet came from. It's about how we, as modern people, choose to tell stories about our own origins. So what do you think is the real story behind the Kabwe skull? Do you find the scientific explanation compelling, or do you believe there are still unanswered questions? Let us know your theories in the comments below. And if you enjoy unraveling ancient mysteries, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another investigation. Thanks for watching.